Okay, so this example, this problem wants you to find the least common multiple of 3x squared y cubed z and 15x z squared. So when you work with numbers, when you work with, like, say, let's say 12 and 28, and you want to find the least common multiple, you already know that you can't just multiply them together. You know that because what you're going to do is you're going to get a multiple, but you're not going to get the least multiple. I mean, there are times when you can, but it's just not always going to work. So what you need to do is you need to factor that down to the prime factors, right, of the number, right? This would be 4 and 7, 2 and 2, so 2 squared times 7. So, and then what you end up doing is you make the multiple of all of the factors, right? So you would do, okay, I have a 2 over here and 2 over here. In fact, the factor of both of those would be 2 squared. And so there, you're actually taking the highest power in both of them. So this is probably not a good example, but, and then you make sure that there's a 3 and there's a 7. So in this one, you actually would just use the product of the two of them, right? 12 times, oh no, you wouldn't, sorry, take that back. You would actually end up taking 12 times 7, not 12 times 28. You want to make sure that all of the factors of both of them and to the highest power. So you would do 4 times 3 times 7. That's going to be the LCM of those two, right? So whatever it is, you take the highest power of each common factor. So when I say common, I mean factors that they have in common, prime factors that they have in common. Okay, so let's go back to the question at hand, this one. Move this over. Okay, so say we want to do the LCM of these two. So if we had to factor 3x squared y cubed z, basically you would say to yourself, well, this is already prime. There's a 3. There's 2 x's, right? There's 3 y's, and there's 1 z. We're going to look at each of these numbers, as prime numbers. The same thing with this one. You're going to say it's 15, which is 3 times 5, times 1x, and times 2 z's. So we're going to use the exact same rule. We're going to look at here and say, okay, there's a 3 in each of them. There's a 5 over here, so we take the highest power of each prime. There's an x in each of them, but we take the highest power, so it's going to be x squared. There isn't a y, but we need a y in order for it to be the least common multiple, and we take the highest power, so that's going to be y cubed. And there is a z in each of them, but we take the highest power, so it's going to be z squared. So 15x squared y cubed z squared is the least common multiple. Each of these values, the ones that we started with, right, use a different color here, each of these, 15x squared would divide into that, and 3x squared y cubed z would divide into that, and that's why it's the least common multiple.